And Leigh, if you want to take a few minutes to introduce yourself, let us know how long you've been in the business and just a little bit about you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming and thanks for joining on Zoom as I am working from home today, which is very nice. My name is Leigh Quintana. I'm out of our Hudson Valley North office, and I have been in real estate 8 going on 9 years.
Fantastic. And you have a team. How many people are on your team right now?
I do. I have nine great people on my team, and that consists of buyer's agents and admins.
Fantastic. So we're going to talk today about listings, which is obviously listings are leverage and an extremely important part of our business. And, we have you hear the talk all the time that listings are low and listings are down, and that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. So what we're going to talk about today is just some best practices and some ideas on how to really maximize your lead generation for listings. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or come off mute. We want this to be an interactive conversation with anybody's thoughts on all this. So Leigh, we'll get started. So I want to ask you, how has your lead generation technique changed since you first started in the business, if it has changed at all?
Oh, it's changed a lot. And I think everyone who gets into this business we all start the same way, which is, what am I doing? Right? Unless you have a really great mentor or a brokerage that teaches you exactly how to craft getting a listing, we're all in the same spot, which is, what am I doing to find people, in order to get in front of them and sell their homes? And so we all start from the same place. And I think the biggest piece of advice and the biggest thing that I've changed from then to now is doing something consistently, right? In our business, we wear 48 hats at all times on both sides of the transaction. We're wearing a lot of hats and we're doing a lot of different things. And so that really prevents most agents from making a plan, a calendar, and doing something consistently. And it's proven, and it's proven on our team and in my own business, if you make time for something, if you make it a priority and you consistently do it, you will reap the rewards from that practice, that best practice. So yes, the biggest difference for me was learning to put lead gen on my calendar and be very specific with it. You can call it lead gen and kind of go out and scoop people, or you can say, I'm consistently going to look on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for listing leads. And how do I go about that? And if you can break that into actionable things for yourself, you've set yourself a nice little way of doing things. And just like anything else, it's forming a habit. So if you do it over and over again, it becomes part of your business and part of what you do every week to create more business for yourself.
Give us an idea of what does your structure looks like? Is it something you do at a certain time every day for a certain amount of time? And talk a little bit about your prep.
Sure. So for example, I tell all my agents on my team this same thing. There is no one thing that you can do. It is what you will do, right? Without forcing yourself. It's what you will do, what you're comfortable doing, that's going to have the biggest payoff. If you're somebody who can't make cold calls, probably not the right way for you to look for listings. We have some people on this call that I know are so excellent on the phone. I've been in this business for a long time. It's very hard for me to pick up the phone and go, hi, I'm looking for some business. But some people are just really natural at it. And they do a great job. So it's kind of what works best for you. Because of my age and a lot of people that I service, text messaging seems to be the best form of communication for me. It's the thing that I will do. I'll do it at home. I'll do it in the office. I will talk to text in the car, but it is the best way for me to reach out because I know that I'll actually do that. So, it's really more about you and what you're willing to do in terms of communication and what forms of communication you'll actively use. And then, yes, I would put that on the calendar. So let's say Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm doing reach out from 9 to noon. That's 3 hours, but it might be 3 hours of texting, and it might be 3 hours of going back into my database and going, okay, these people bought with me 5 years ago. So they're kind of coming up on that. I might want to sell. I might want to cash in on my investment. I might want a bigger house. I might want to retire. Right? So those are people that you might want to reach out to and say, hey, I know we haven't talked in a long time or whatever, just checking in. Maybe you're going to look at their home value and say, like, you've gained $250,000 in equity since you bought with me 3 years ago. Just wanted to let you know. If you come from that place of, I just want to let you know, a lot of people, will certainly come back and answer like, that's great. That's cool. I didn't know that. Like, we were thinking about selling next summer, but maybe now is the time. And they'll start to engage in those conversations. And some people don't, but you have to also be okay with that.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions so far? Really? So
quiet Monday.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So how does the service you provide your sellers affect additional potential business, if it does at all?
Well, I mean, that's an easy one, right, Erin?
Mm-hmm.
If we can give an exceptional service to people, they're just more likely to refer us. So, the biggest complaint I hear from maybe sellers that have come from somewhere else, or even buyers that have come from somewhere else, is that their agent didn't communicate well with them. And again, that's a personal preference between yourself and the seller. For example, on all my listing appointments, I actually ask, what is the best form of communication for you? Some people want a phone call, and they want a phone call every time you have a showing, and they want a phone call for every update, and they want, it's listening to what their needs are and asking specifically, what are your needs? Because if we don't ask those questions, we don't know. And then somebody, might be upset that we didn't just know. So asking insightful questions to those sellers and saying, like, what's your best form of communication? How do you like for things to go? Then you're giving them a great service that they've asked for, instead of just doing it your way all the time, because it doesn't always work that way. But I would say the number one thing I hear from sellers that come to me that have maybe listed before with someone else is that their agent had poor communication. They didn't sell the house, so they stopped calling. Don't stop calling. Never stop calling. Let's find out what we can do together to get the home sold. And I tell all of my sellers, this is a partnership. This is a partnership, and it has to be. They have to be happy. You have to be happy as an agent, and you have to work together. So
it's safe to and answer the phone. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to throw that in there. I, as somebody that gets kind of, I hate to say, the overflow of negativity sometimes from clients that call in, answer the phone.
Answer the phone. And if you're not going to answer the phone, at least add to your voicemail that maybe your office hours are 9 to 5, right, and that you'll return a phone call the following day. Just little things, tweaks like that in your business, even if you put it on your email, on the bottom of your email, just letting people know what they can expect from you, I think makes a big difference. I tell all of my clients, I am not available on Sundays unless it's an emergency. It's my day with my kids. It's my day to cook. I'm on, I'm in the car a lot. My family's around. So if you're really upfront about how to communicate, it goes much better. And that leads into them, again, just sending you business. That's where that comes from.
How much of your business would you say is from your sphere or past client referral business?
90%. I'm very fortunate, but again, all of that comes from, again, the beginning of your real estate career. You're out working with a lot of buyers, you're getting to know people. I tell my agents who are all newer agents, every single person that you work with is a potential for a repeat client. And I've had clients buy and sell with me 5 or 6 times over the course of my, career. They're all repeat clients if you give them a good service. And then they're also opening up their sphere to you as well. So, it gives you the opportunity to double your database in that sense at minimum.
How do you find the best ways that you do communicate with your database?
So since we have a very large database now, I communicate very well, very personally with my past clients and with people in my sphere. I'm pretty good at, I think a number of you on this call probably know I'm pretty good about just picking up the phone and checking in, like, hey, how are you doing? I was thinking about you. And so I just made the phone call, and I do that often. It's a good practice in life, and it's a good practice in business. But, we use many different things. We use social media. We use email, which comes directly off of our command. So you can set up some really great email check-ins to go through your whole database. Tagging your database is kind of important in order to do that, because you want to know who's a current client, who's in, a future client, who's a past client, and who's a nurture client. So you really want to set those things up appropriately, and then give something of value. Holidays, you can, we just sent out like where you could go see, all the Christmas lights in the Hudson Valley or tree lightings around, and people wrote back and thanked us for that. Other people, again, we have a text service that comes with command. If you want to send out one text wishing people, happy holiday, or what's events happening or something you're sponsoring, this is a great way for mass communication. And then when it comes to people who I know are swirling around in the way of buying or selling, we're reaching out very personally.
Right. So you talked about the local events, and that you send out things like that. What else do you do as far as local information? Do you utilize any sort of statistics, or how do you share that sort of information that's more hyper local?
Yeah, really on our social media. And, if you don't use social media, email is a perfectly okay way to do that. Most of the time when we're sharing statistical things, it's a market update. That's what people, when we poll people, that's what they want to hear. They want to see if their prices are rising or falling, what our new median home price average is in each town or whatever in Ulster County. And so that's what we hear that they want. And we share a lot of that on social media. We'll also share a lot of those emails that we send out to our database on social media in hopes of pulling in new clients.
And where do you get that information from?
Our Ulster County Board of Realtor report is what we use to do our analysis on Ulster County, for example, and it would be the same if we were doing it in Dutchess or anywhere else. Or you can figure that out from the MLS yourself. It's a pretty simple formula, and if you don't know how to do it, I'm happy to teach you.
Good. And I know that a lot of the MLSs have fast stats and InfoSparks and other type things that you can use to get that information. So that's great. So always being the neighborhood expert in a way, I think is a huge avenue of opportunity to get people to know that you understand their market.
Absolutely.
So is there any niche or population segment that you market to or kind of socialize with specifically that has positively affected your business?
So the direct answer to that is no. And I think that we all form a niche at some point. I would say that having a niche market a lot of times has to do with your involvement in your community. So when I first started real estate, I had been at a CrossFit gym for 6 years. Those were my people. And those are all the people that I bought and sold homes with for a long time. That was my niche community. So if you're doing, things in your community with charity or a gym or anything, those start to kind of become your people and sometimes your niche market. While my kids were in school, I worked with a ton of teachers. That was my niche market at the time. When I was a brand new agent, I was great with first-time home buyers. That was my niche market at the time. And so it's just like being a local area expert, kind of what you do plays into your business. You know, how active are you in your community? What are you showing up for? Where do people see you? And once you figure that out, you should have a really quick, I call it the 30-second elevator pitch. Have the capability to talk about yourself and kindly slip in there that you're in real estate. People don't forget it.
Do you use any sort of a presentation or any materials? Because I know some agents do and some agents don't.
I don't.
That's okay. Yes.
I don't. I've never had a listing presentation. I love this business because I love to meet people and get to know them. And that's my whole intention when I walk into a listing presentation, is to find out what I'm doing there and what they're doing there. And all the other great stuff comes afterward. If they want to see, you know, examples of my marketing or anything like that, I'm always happy to share, but it's not the biggest thing. You know, I think people hire you as an agent. They're not hiring your company or your brokerage. They're not hiring your team. They're hiring you when you walk into their appointment and they connect with you. And I think that being your authentic self and really having down to earth conversations and understanding people and doing more listening than you do talking pays off in this business tenfold. So no, I don't have a listing presentation.
Leigh, I have a question.
Sure.
It's
Hi,
Barry
Barry.
Decker. Do you use an app, or I keep getting emails from Nextdoor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use them, know about them, whatever?
I certainly know of them. I haven't, I've read some things on Nextdoor, and my parents, who are in their late 60s, use Nextdoor constantly. So I'm going to have to like learn from them what it really provides, but I see all sorts of different things going on there. And I have seen many houses listed for sale, but it's a great, any place you can reach out to your community, whatever that is. And Nextdoor seems to be growing in popularity, so it might be a really great place to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So what is the most intentional form of lead generation that you do or that you have done to win listings? Where do you find the most success?
I mean, I'm going to revert right back to what I was just saying, and that's being in my community. You know, I think a lot of times people kind of sit back and go, I'm a real estate agent. Nobody, like, how come I'm not getting business and nobody's noticing? You know, if they can't see you and can't hear you, there's a good chance they don't know that you're there. Every one person knows 15 agents, you know? So you really want to stay intentional on, you know, being in front of people with your face and name, face and name, face and name, face and name. And I think that's the most intentional thing that you can do. And then, of course, coming from a place of authenticity. Nobody likes a salesperson. This is the truth. How many phone calls do you get and it's a sales call and you're like, spam, block, done? You know, like, we really want to come from a place of intentionality with people. What are we offering them? What can we do for them? How can we help them? Are we a source to the source? And I think just coming from that place, people recognize that.
What kind of services do you offer generally your listings when you take them?
For all of our listings, regardless of the price point, and whether they're a rental or a $2 million house, they all get professional photography and drone, and a walkthrough video. Sometimes we do a professional walkthrough video, but they all get a social media walkthrough video. They get printed marketing at the house, and then sometimes a lot of sellers have quite a bit of information, and we'll take all of that information, actually put it in a binder for them so that it stays with the house, because they're like, this is this, and people might walk off with it, but I want to leave it. So we'll go and do all of that little, you know, tedious work for them so that they feel, you know, that we're handling, you know, some of those extras for them. Of course, we have professional organizers, home cleaners, stagers. It really just depends on the house and what their particular needs are. But we'll link them with a mover. We'll bring somebody in to, consult on what that might cost them, because that's been a huge expense for people this year.
So I'm hearing you say really that one of the most important pieces as well is having your own book of vendors and people that you're working with in order to always be the source of the source.
We have a very big vendor list, and we'll always send them that list and then make recommendations from that list based on what their needs are. And part of that is relationship building too. So when you're in this business, you want to be able to reach out to these people consistently and have conversations and see what they're doing too, and how you can help their business and put them on that list. It works really well, especially when they know you're handing them a referral. They're going to go out pretty quickly because they know that, you've done business together before. So.
Do you have instance, I mean, obviously you do, but where they refer you business back, is that another avenue for you to find listings, is through your vendors?
It really is. Your attorneys, your mortgage brokers, your home inspectors. I've sold a number of other agents' houses in the area, right? So you're just really creating partnerships in all the things that you do. And yes, it's a huge referral source, as well as it helps you build that list so that you can service your clients. I have to let a dog out, excuse me.
No problem. Pause. So, and one of the things too is, if you don't have your own vendor list at this point, reach out to your market centers, because there are preferred vendors that we do business with in the market center. So if you haven't been in the business a long time and you don't have your own book of people to refer to, the market center has people that they can refer you, that we know of, that we do business with, that we trust.
We have a great vendor alliance list in our office, and a lot of these folks are also new and trying to get their businesses started. It's kind of like being in a BNI group. If you've never been in a BNI group, like, go out to coffee with this person and get to know them. They become an allied resource and then a source of referrals. So this whole business is about getting to know people, honestly.
What's the one thing that, if I was a new agent, you would suggest is that one of the first things that really I do to start to generate for listings?
Take buyers out and work with buyers.
Talk about that a little bit.
People don't I don't think people normally give this advice, but to be honest with you, if you really want to be a good listing agent, you should be out with buyers. Then you know what buyers want, and you're able to go into somebody's house and go, yeah, that countertop's not going to work, or yeah, this is really where I think you'll fall. This is what I'm watching people bid, under, over, whatever in this area. You become the expert. And so if you're out working with buyers and you really know what their needs are, you can really help that seller gauge what's going to happen in their house. If a good listing agent can walk into a house and go, yep, these are the type of these people are buying this house. This is your buyer. This is what their profile looks like, right? And that's because they're out working with buyers. So for new agents, work with buyers. Please volunteer to do open houses for any senior agent who might need the help. I think a lot of my very beginning listings came from open houses, from people wanting to buy. I would get them as a buyer, and then I would sell their house. So it was a twofer. And I really think most agents, we do, if someone from my team can't do one of our open houses and another agent does it, all those buyers are theirs. There's no referral fee, nothing. So do open houses.
There are seasoned agents that, they have their book of buyer business, they have their listing business, but maybe it's a little bit slower right now, just based on the market. What's one thing that they can do to kind of up their game a little bit?
Get in front of a new audience. If you're not on social media of some sort, whether it's Nextdoor or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn, there are a bazillion different platforms that you can be on that suit you as a person, that you would like to be on, that allow you to say who you are in front of a group of unknown people. That would be, you know, my number one, because that's where people are. It used to be like, you know, TikTok was for teenagers. Now it's for 35 to 55-year-olds. That's the demographic on TikTok, you know? So just getting on there, learning how to use something new, or getting on something that you'd be comfortable with, like LinkedIn, sharing business articles, just so people know, you know, what do you do? Are you a sort? That's how people start to reach out to you. Do you know anything about this? Or can you link me with this person? You seem to know a lot of people. That's where people start conversations with you that maybe you've never spoken to before. So just being on some sort of social media would greatly improve your business.
Does anybody have any questions or anything that they want to add to anything that we've talked about so far? Roger, hi Roger, how are you?
Hi, good. Roger from Hudson Valley North. I was wondering, what is the bang for the buck for billboard advertising? I don't see too many Keller Williams billboards, but I see a lot of others. You're shaking your head. No, you don't think there's any added value. It's a waste.
No, I mean, I have a friend in the office who did a big, beautiful billboard. It's been up for over a year and she hasn't gotten one call on it.
Okay.
And they're not cheap. People are driving past you. So great. It's a face and name thing, but so are yard signs, so is social media. You know, it's just a bigger face and name thing, but for the money, it's my understanding it's not really worth it.
And how about crossover marketing at events where you might have other specialties have prior to coming into the real estate world, and maybe you're doing an event, not a wedding or something like that, where you're going to stand up afterwards and tell everybody you're a realtor, but you know, where there might be some added value to make that announcement, and it's somewhat relational, like an antique sale, or people that have a historic house that you might be listing. You're also in the antiques business. You might be able to flip their whole interior and sell it for them, or
yeah,
something.
I never think it's a bad idea to slip in what you do. I mean, people love to talk about themselves and they love to hear about other people, right? This is kind of that give and take. So no matter what you're doing, if you can, you know, sweep in that you're in antiques or sweep in that you're in real estate, it adds to the conversation, you know, it's never a bad thing.
Thank
But
you.
that's not at the end of a wedding, Roger. There's a right time and a right place.
No.
Hi, Leigh.
Hi.
Hi. I just have a quick question. I missed the very beginning, so I don't know if you already spoke about it, but are you using command at a high level, and are you using smart plans and things like that? So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So sorry. Shh. He heard you say hi, Leigh, and now he thinks somebody's here. Sorry. Turbo stop. Yeah. So command is a great tool to kind of generate all of those things, right? So smart plans. I found that writing our own smart plans felt better because I wanted it to be our team's voice. So, you know, we took the extra step of doing that, which can be somewhat time consuming, but there are a bazillion smart plans and they're coming out with more all the time, right, Erin? I don't know if there's like a set schedule, but they're a great way to keep in touch. They're a great way to put your name in somebody's inbox. I mean, you all get the Pella Windows flyer in your mailbox, right? It looks like a yellow piece of paper with beautiful handwriting on it. Like, here's your, you know, it's time for new windows in your house. Everybody gets it. I don't read it. I don't care about it, but I get it once a month. And I know that if I'm going to replace my windows, I'm calling these people. I'm waiting till I get the next yellow mailer because they've literally sent it to me every year that I've lived in my house every month, right? So it's that repeat of your face and name and of your information. I've got to let a dog back in. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Well, I'm going to interject because Eileen, we're tying two things together. There's a custom smart plans class tomorrow at 2:00 on Zoom. So if you're not sure how to create custom smart plans, Eileen, our resident command expert, is going to show us how.
It's a great tool. Thanks, Erin. And Mary, before you came in, what I basically said was anything that you will use consistently is going to be the right thing for you. There is no one size fits all. People want, this 12 and 15 step marketing plan, 10 ways to find a listing. I've got 10, but I've also got 100. It's what is going to work best for you, the thing that you're going to do consistently. You don't want to tell yourself this is going to be the year that I call FSBOs if getting on the phone and cold calling isn't for you. Right? We want to do things that feel good for us and that we're willing to do. Otherwise, you just avoid them and it never gets done anyway.
So what else is on your list that we haven't talked about?
Let's see. So, I did put expired and FSBOs on here, and I also put absentee sellers.
Okay.
People who really like data. These are two pretty good things to utilize. There is a way to find past for sale by owner people that didn't sell and active for sale by owner people. I don't think we can call anymore unless you have, are we still in the don't call time?
I think so. I believe we are still in the do not call time. Yes.
We do not cold call on my team. I'm personally against it, so we don't do it. But if you do, there is a way to look at past FSBOs that haven't sold, and then absentee sellers, and you can do that with the MLS by looking at a certain neighborhood and people's tax addresses. So if they live in California, maybe their house here is rented or maybe it's vacant. I've had a lot of people in the past couple of years tell me that their homes here are just vacant. But since we're in the do not call time now, Erin, I have a question. Is it if they're in New York State, we can't call, or if we're in New York State, we can't call? Like if somebody was in California, could you pick up the phone and call them? As long as they're not on.
That's a really good question that I don't know the answer to. My thought would be yes.
Maybe we can find out.
I don't want to say that though.
Right. Well, maybe we can find out. And, if there are absentee owners in other states, and there's a lot of land, obviously, like people don't live here, but they own land here, and land is selling really well right now. So there are a lot of absentee people that you can go find. And it's research. It's one of those things where if you give yourself a couple hours to fool around on the MLS, you can find anything. The other possibility for absentee is working with somebody in a title company. Maybe they might be able to provide an absentee list. So, or a neighborhood list for you with addresses and phone numbers. So that was on my list. And of course, lead gen time and scheduling it. You need to do that. That's a really big one. And then of course, last but not least is our Keller Williams referral network. We have a ginormous network of other agents across the country, and we get a ton of referrals from our KW network. And other agents often pick agents who have taken bold and agents who are on the ALC, because it shows that you're active in your brokerage, and you have to be doing business, right, to be active in your brokerage. And so that's a great way to go out, make sure that you have a bio on that. Erin, you might be able to tell them how to do that. I had my assistant do it. I don't know how.
Yeah, right in the settings in Command, if you go up underneath your name in Command, there is an area to create your profile and all of your settings to make sure that you're maximizing, what is seen and how you're looking. And one of my biggest areas of thought is make sure you have your own personal bio, because if not, the system defaults you to a default bio. And I don't think anybody wants to be a default bio. And Eileen, again, who is super helpful, grow and leverage your referral network. She's teaching that on January 31st at 3:00. So if you want to maximize that referral base for you, join her on the 31st at 3.
The best business that you can ever get is referral business. But let's say you're stagnant in the area or new to the area or a new agent, I would recommend joining a local BNI chapter. It is so painful and so wonderful at the same time, because what it does is it teaches you to stand up every week in front of the same 50 people and say what you do for a living in 100 different ways. It gets you comfortable with talking to other people and talking about yourself, and then learning how to give a good referral and how to receive a good referral. And both my husband and I, when we started our businesses, were in BNI. So this is 8-9 years ago. I still get referrals from those people. And in fact, I work very closely with one of them who was in my husband's chapter, and she's she does Airbnb short-term rentals in Kingston. And so she always says somebody looking to buy or looking to sell. I mean, it's constant. So getting, a couple people, in a BNI chapter to refer you business, I think changes people's businesses. So it's another good source.
I have a question about the BNI. I don't know what that is. Can you tell me what that is?
Yeah, it's, God, if I could remember what it stood for, Business Networking International. And
Oh,
it's
BNI, okay.
different subsets of people. So it's a plumber, it's an electrician, it's an accountant, it's an attorney, it's a real estate agent, and they only take one of each thing in their chapter. So you're this singular person, and you filter business back and forth. It's just, it's a living vendors list. That's exactly what it is. And
Okay.
it's really exceptional if you take advantage of it.
And I had one other question. Could you talk a little bit more about expired? Like how
Sure.
you approach that?
Sure. So of course, right now, because we can't call people, doing a market valuation for somebody and sending it in the mail to them. You could write a nice letter, or you could hire, well, we do, Erin, we do postcards. Can
Yeah.
you design your own postcards?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
absolutely can design
So-
your own postcards, or you can have my concierge service design your postcards for you.
There you go. So I have Erin has a great thing. It's called the concierge service. And apparently they do everything that I pay all these crazy other people to do. So I would just take advantage of that. But you could also do a postcard, and you can say like, I'm sorry to see your home didn't sell. I have 5 reasons why I don't think it's sold, and I'd love to talk to you today. Keep it simple. Keep it really simple. And I think, Erin, is there some QR code they can scan so you can see if you
Yes.
looked at it? I love
Absolutely. So within our marketing department, we can add QR codes to all of our postcards so that when somebody gets the card in, you can actually know if there's a return on investment. And all they have to do is scan the QR code,
And they
ask
do.
them a couple of questions.
And then you get their information, and they are effectively, I think, Erin, become a lead, and you can call them.
Absolutely. So what'll happen is you're going to get their information back of what address it was that, is responding back, their name. All you have to do is Google them, and you'll get their phone number and find a way to reach out to them. And just, you have that's a warm contact at that point, because they're responding to you.
Right.
So it's a way to get away from the do not call. And, Matt had put, I don't know, Matt, if you want to come on and talk about that at all, that there was something about our restrictions changing for the do not call list. I don't have enough information about that to really speak to that without being incorrect and getting anybody in trouble. But I can certainly find out for sure.
Okay, thank you.
I just think on that, the governor just had sent out that it was being extended and was done through HCAR as well. When we thought it was going to be over, there was an extension. So basically that's where it's at, as far as I know.
Yeah. So maybe the postcard with, again, that QR code, or contact me for a free valuation. I mean, the market has shifted, right? So if we can say that intelligibly to people, they're listening. Nobody wants to list some people want to list their house and just see what happens, but most people don't go through the effort of listing their house just to see what happens, because it's a lot of work for them. So, if something has expired, you want to look and see what is expiring, right? Because you want to coordinate those things. If it expired and it takes a week to get there, there's a great chance another agent has already called, right?
Right.
So unless you're going to put something in the mail, or you have something pre-made that you're going to put in the mail that day, Or you're searching town by town or neighborhood by neighborhood specific. So I live in a development with, let's say, 60 houses. And if any of them are listed, I'm looking to see when they expire so that I can get something out to them quickly and effectively.
So one of the things that you can do is you can have postcards made
Mhm.
that are the message that you want, and then just mail them yourself.
Hand
Once
address them.
something comes on, hand address them and mail them yourself.
Absolutely.
And you can always reach out to me. I can help anybody figure out how to do that.
Yeah, and if they have that QR code, people are going to scan it, trust me. Like
Just to see what happens.
everybody who went to a restaurant during COVID now knows how to use one. So this is a major benefit to us, right? So scan the QR code, you're going to get their information, and then that gives you permission to call. It's a nice way around it, actually.
Who else has questions or thoughts or something that you're doing for your business to get listings that we didn't mention? No one's getting listings.
No one's getting listings. What's happening here?
Sad.
Maybe you just need the wacky waving arms guy and you have to like stand under it with a sign that says, I'm a real estate agent. I sell
Well,
houses.
basically, I agree with what you've been saying is my business is mainly from referrals.
Yeah.
And it is getting involved locally to get to know your local market. And as I think I've said before, volunteer, join locally. If you're new, that helps you get to know people, whether it's through the chamber, the library, whatever businesses, public businesses are in your area. People like that. And you get to meet a lot of people and they get to know you. And if they like you, then they talk about you. And always put a card in their face. Hi, here I am.
Yeah, have
You
a
know?
card. A lot of people stopped with cards during COVID. People love a card and they love a good card. I've walked into several people's houses and my card's hanging on the refrigerator, you know, so people like good cards. They keep them.
Also, what I find really effective is I just talk to everybody. I was in an all town coffee. I saw a guy with his construction truck outside. And I introduced myself and, you know, and literally he called me the next day and said he had somebody who knew the person he was working on this place he was building who was looking for a house. Can he put him in touch with me? So, you know, just by being friendly and open and introducing yourself and not feeling like, you know, you can't do that. And he was so nice. And now I feel like I'll be in touch with this guy for years.
Yeah, it's funny how our brain works, right? Like you're nervous to ask somebody for business or you're nervous to approach somebody new, but think about when you meet a buyer or seller, like they're mostly brand new to you and you have to like walk in there and give a performance, right? So it's the same thing. You know, when I tell my agents the same thing, get out there. You got to get out there and meet people. You know, you can't sit at home and just expect business to come. It doesn't work that way.
Hi, I have a question about the QR codes.
Mhm.
So I do send out postcards quite often, but I was unaware of how to use my QR code and where it actually leads to if a potential lead were to like scan it and try to use it.
So if you're using the QR codes through our KW Marketing Center, your just listed cards, your just sold cards, that thing through our KW Marketing Center, you can actually have it go wherever you want. It will create sort of a landing page for that particular listing if it is a just listed or a just sold, but you could change in the settings where you want it to go. If you wanted it to go to your website, if you wanted it to go someplace else, you have the ability to decide where you want that card, that QR code to take you on that postcard.
Okay, so it's basically in command. I can kind of edit the page where I want it to land and I can put it on my postcards. Because
you could absolutely. Yep. And if you want to make some time with me, Fanny, I'm happy to show you how to do it.
Okay, we'll do.
Mine were going to my email, if that helps. So it'd say like someone scanned your QR code and you click it and it'd bring you to the page and with their information.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
And it's really easy. There's a lot of different QR code generators too, if you wanted to do in other fashion, not just the postcards, but put QR codes on other things. There's a ton of free QR code generators that you can have that can go pretty much to anything that you're interested in.
Okay, all right. I'll really look into that. I like that idea.
Yeah, so we are really concentrating right now on command since we've been so crazy busy for the last 3 years. We finally have a little bit of downtime. We're definitely taking the time to just concentrate on really cleaning up our database, moving everybody to make sure everybody is in the team account from the other. Putting people, we did set up, Kristen on my team and Christy set up all the smart plans with our own things like you spoke about. And
Great.
then just making calls. I mean, it's starting to use the tasks, starting to, like, we are deep diving into it. And so that's what we're doing since the market's not as crazy as it was. We like, who had time in the last 3 years to do anything in their database? We finally have the time. So I feel like you just need to be working on the back end of your business right now and then making calls to either your past clients, your even, you know, your friends. You're just calling, you're just saying, hi, happy new year. And then, you know, you don't even have to talk real estate. You don't have to talk real estate. I mean, it's going to come up because they always bring it up, but you don't have to go in from that. Sorry, I have a call I have to take.
No,
Sorry.
thanks, Madeline.
Bye-bye.
Madeline is correct in that, like, now is a really great time to be working on your business and, you know, how to streamline it for next year. What you guys know what worked for you and what didn't. You absolutely know. And trying to fit those things that didn't work back into the bucket is just, it's a waste of your precious time and energy. And we all do it. Like, it took me a couple years. Like, I'm gonna make phone calls this year. I'm going to do it. I just don't do it. I really want to, and I've come up with scripts and it's just not me. And it's just not part of my business model. But I have a member on my team who calls his database religiously and he gets a ton of business from it. It does work. You know, I send the text messages and that works. I send personal emails. I always contact somebody whenever I'm thinking about them, and that works too. So yes, it's a great time to work in your, you know, on your business in command. And we have such good resources for you to do that. You know, you'll figure out what little pieces and parts to pull in, you know.
Fantastic. Any last questions or parting thoughts from anyone?
In the chat, we're going to have a class, Mine the Gold in Your Database, on Tuesday, January 17th. Leigh, I'm working great with you today. Everything that you're saying, I have a class for, so this is awesome. All the
Great.
things she's talking about, I can show you how to do.
Great. My final thoughts are priority management. It's so easy to get overwhelmed and so busy in our business doing nothing. So, you know, priority management, if you're looking for listings this year and that's your thing, make it a priority, put it on your calendar, ask for help. We have such good resources in, you know, our brokerage to help set you up for this stuff that there's no reason that everybody can't be doing it. You just have to make it a priority, whether it's to get it on the calendar to learn how to do it, or get it on the calendar so that you go out and do the things that you're comfortable doing. That's going to bring you the listings. That's my parting thought, Erin.
Oh, I thank you so very, very much for this. This is amazing. And as you guys know, this is one of a 4-part series all about listings. The next one is going to be next Tuesday, because I did forget that Monday is a holiday. So the next session of this is going to be next Tuesday at 1 p.m. Trust me, you'll see emails from me and different Facebook posts reminding you of that. But let's stick with it. Next week, we're going to talk more about, once you get the listing appointment, how do you secure the listing? How do you win it? And how do you always make sure you walk out with that signed document? So Leigh, thank you so very much. Very much appreciated your time here today. And thank you to everybody for listening and participating. And I wish you all a fabulous day.
Thanks, guys.